and our production value is going crazy.
All right, we'll wait for some people to get in here. How's everyone's day going?
What's up, Solsky? What's up, Suburban Beard?
Good. I think we made a lot of progress on the software today that will be shipping with the HYTE keeb. So this was an area where we had left that for later. You know, we can develop software closer and closer to shipment, and it feels really good to get a lot of that stuff resolved.
I will say, dude, like, just sitting in today, it's funny how I pop in that conference room and I literally don't know what to expect anymore. It's like every other day when I know there's a product team member in that conference room, it's like we make these leaps and strides with either the software or the hardware, right? Like you never know, which is weird. So like for me coming into this like as community, and I know I've generally just been brought in to kind of like help guide the keeb home, help guide like some of the features and internals, like things that we would do to like the good minor improvements to this and general outreach. But like we walk into that room and it's like there is something that is I don't know, like 3 times better than the thing that we did last week. And then next week it's kind of like we finally saw that improvement and it's 2 times better than the thing that we saw the week before. Like today was crazy, dude. Today was crazy. Like even digesting all the
The
features
way
for just keeb.
the way I think about it is kind of like the way your imagination works. And so it's really easy in your head to just imagine how something could be. And then as you get further and further away from your own imagination, it gets more and more difficult. This room, when we have these people inside of it, we're the imagination driving the rest of the company. And then as you get further from the room, the reality of how you make that real gets heavier and heavier. But right here in the center, it's not that heavy. And I think that's how we come up with our best ideas. We just try to dream.
Like it's
Well,
it's funny because like I wish we could show
oh,
like like
can we take a second to fix cams here? They're a
oh
bit
yeah,
laggy.
no problem.
Okay, let
Do
me
you need
see.
me to do anything?
I don't know if that's the office internet, but let me see if I can go back. How does it look now?
Let me move to my phone.
I think everything looks good now. You were just frozen a bit
Okay.
earlier.
Was the audio okay?
Audio's good.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't go off on that huge imagination tangent. Unrewarded.
Yeah, we could talk about building Disneyland again.
Yeah, I mean,
Disneyland for
I don't
keyboards.
I think, you know, one of the greatest things about Disney was he didn't stop to think about how he could realistically do anything until he finished the idealism. And I think all too often, especially in the tech industry, you get to the question of like, well, how much is that going to cost too early in the discussion that you don't finish the exploration of how amazing could this be. And I think we're doing it a little differently here, and it's fun. It's rare. And John's gone.
Would
Yeah.
you say that like there is even a schedule of things that where we bounce off like literally a hardware week and a software week and a hardware week and a software week, or like are we that agile and we just
I think we are smart enough to be aware that you can't do a good experience without both. You know, a hardware company will try to keep their ideas to hardware, and sometimes they'll drag software solutions into hardware that are not ideal. What we're trying to do is take a pragmatic approach that both need the quality and attention that to become something fantastic. And so we try to be very mindful of that. It's like if you were building a speaker system, you're not going to look to the tweeters to give you bass. You understand that there are multiple components that come together to build a symphony of the experience, and we try not to marginalize any one of those components.
and it's I do want to iterate too, like when we walk into those conference rooms, it's like the number of people on our team, what is that, like less than the number of people in two hands, right? Like this is a very agile team. um I think that's crazy. I think what we do
Yeah.
like every week is, again, like how is it possible this team is achieved able to achieve these things? And maybe that's just really good synergy. I think like between the product team, between the marketing teams and the community teams, like there's a really good ebb and flow of like um input and feedback and output. um and like that's just speaking from me and my observations in and out. I'm really happy with that,
I,
especially when it comes to keeb too. Well, I mean, I'm biased, I'm like super biased towards keeb, but like with every product. So
I think the difference maker that creates that agility is if you're in the room, you need to understand that your opinion is valid, and you don't just find the like the people that we have in our room. That's not a first try, second try, third try. That's a lot of iterative improvement. And what I think it always comes down to is if you feel something, you need to feel that those feelings are valid and worth bringing up. um Otherwise you're just in the room and you're not even sure of your own opinion. Then you kind of will sit by quietly when other people who feel confidently about what they felt uh, are actively engaging. We need everybody to feel that whatever they're feeling should be brought up. And so that's kind of the difficulty. You need to be sensitive, but you also need to be vocal about that that you felt this, and that maybe this should be a different way. Sometimes it's very difficult when you have one person or two people who are actively engaging in a conversation. And if you surround yourself with the six other people, those six people might sit by quietly, thinking, "Oh, I don't feel that strongly about anything."
and I love that sense of collaboration. Like the team is able to give its own or give each other's input into any single product too. um so we could definitely be proud about that. um I thought so. I have the stream open too, and people are asking questions. John, are you able to pull those up? I
Uh,
see some people asking
I'm
about like
afraid. I'm
yes,
afraid to
not
open the
not
stream.
currently, but we'll make that a next iteration for the next
okay, here, let
stream.
me see if I could pull it up with like just like the text version,
Hmm.
because then that would probably work the best, where it's like we're not trying to share. um
No worries. I can always just start reading off from the chat list.
okay, cool. Yeah, people had some in there, but I closed down my thing because I didn't need to watch ourselves. We're already like on a video thing internally. So um yeah, if they have any questions, like happy to answer them too.
No worries. So we have a question from Tulik. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, but he says, "Nice. Are you guys planning to launch distribution in the UK?"
Who wants to take that one? I can take that one, sort of. I can sort of take that one. So was it Tulik? I don't see the Twitch, so like I'm gonna hope that I'm
Yes,
saying that right.
I
But
believe it's Tulik.
yes, we are planning on having a distribution center based out of Germany. And again, oh, we did. Okay, well, but to answer that question, yes,
I'm
that
good.
will all be in due time. Also, too, it would be through like any of our channel sales. So, through UK, it may be Amazon, it may be another major market through that. So we'll make announcements as long as you guys follow us. We know that the EU region is huge. We also know likewise that the SEA region is huge, and then we were also getting inquiries about like Australia. So all of that is actually in the works. With the popularity of what we released over CES, we recognize that clearly we need to open up some distribution channels. But we planned for that too. So do look forward to that. As long as you're following us on socials, I would even say that the newsletter is probably the best bet, because we'll announce 100% when that website is able to redirect you to the right places to purchase product. So unless there was something specifically that he was like, it wasn't like Y60 or keeb, but all of that applies to the entire product line. I hope that helps.
I think you got that perfectly.
Good, good.
All right, so we have another question from Beta Things. He's asking, how about the sound test on Keeb? Do we have that available tonight, King?
We have both. Okay, so like I have our version of like my fully built tuned one. And then we took sound clips of this guy in a room that's way better than the one I'm in right now. So like I could do it. I can point the mic down. So like I have one of these broadcast mics. I could point it down and we'll do it live. But you'd have to excuse me if you like hear like random stuff in the background. So I could do it live with this one. But we also do have a clip saved, and I guess that's okay too to be like dropping in the Discord if you guys really want to like replay it over and over and over, versus just catching this live stream. But we could do whatever you guys want. So I could just literally aim this mic down.
Is that the Jeffy clip?
Yeah, there's a Jeffy clip, and there's also, and that's based on the same keyboard. If you guys want to know the statistics of that, so I'm gonna try to do this because like the blurry thing is not helping a situation here. But let me get these settings out. Let me reduce this blur a little bit so that it's a little bit easier to see the keeb. So this is the Keeb SR65. It is utilizing the CXA profile caps from Canon keys. I almost want to say it's like a match made in heaven. I love the way this looks, but again, like this is how I'm building it personally. So like I build it like I get to keep this home like every single night, but I don't, right? Like Rob is clearly staring at me like, why do you keep bringing this home? But this actually shouldn't leave the office, okay? But it's been at my house more than the office. I just want to so like I'm definitely like pleading guilty to be taking this home. But the video that you're going to be seeing is based off this exact keyboard. So this is a black finish. We don't really know if it would even go into production. But I love it. I love the black finish. It's also got the of course the white on black CXAs. How I tuned this, if you guys really want the details for that, these are the Duroc Pinks. These are 65-gram linears, so a little bit on the heavier side. Again, of the options that we wanted to include with the keeb, these are on the upper spectrum of a linear, so these are actual pinks. I also lubed these with 205G0. So for those of you familiar, anytime I build one of my keyboards, like I just have buckets of 205G0 at home. I do them just like any one would. I do the housings, the stems. These are not filmed, so if that helps, these are not filmed. These are just Durocs. I didn't even clean the factory lube that comes in them. And so I just put 205G0. I like to lube them thinly, and then I just resocketed them back into the plate. The other thing is the only difference between this and the potential like fully blown like 1,000-piece version is these are CES samples. So just like a word of caution that the only Duroc V2 stabilizer on this board is actually the spacebar. I'm happy that that's the case because like a spacebar should be badass sounding. So but do keep in mind that when I'm pressing the backspace and the enter and the shift, I have lubed and clipped the plate mount stabs on those that came stock with just the CES demo. It does not mean that's what you get. Okay, so that's like we are converting all of these to Duroc V2s in haste of us releasing this in CES. Yeah, so just it came with that, but it's not. It will be fully PCB mounted Duroc V2 stabs.
Yeah, I think we should probably take a little time and talk about what's changed and what's already changed and what we're working on. I think today was the day that we had intended to do the pre-order for the keep, and obviously we haven't launched that.
Yeah.
you want to go into some of the details of why, or I guess I could speak to why, and then if you want to go into maybe what we've changed a little bit.
Sure, sure.
So basically, we've been working on this project for a couple years, and the way you bring something like this to market is always very difficult. We're trying to do something that is obviously not in the market in many different ways, whether that's media keys or two scroll wheels or oversized rotary wheels, or the RGB or the software aspect, or the build it yourself aspect alone is kind of outside of a traditional gamer consumer area. Um, we did it with our interest check on Geek Hack thread. That was the way we decided to step to introduce this product to the world, which basically landed like Superman from Krypton into the Earth, like just pow. We have been very, very fortunate that our Discord has become very populated with people who have been crucial in giving us useful feedback on how we could rework this product, and make it a bit more in line with what traditional expectations might be of it. The ways in which people measure the certain aspects of performance and quality. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to that. And as this project was largely developed in-house, extremely privately, it's actually really refreshing to be able to talk to some new people and get some different perspectives than what we have going on in our room. And so because of that, we've already started to implement changes, those of which are in progress. And so we are not opening up the pre-orders today. We will still be pre-ordering the keeb and a date to be determined. But we are making some really exciting changes that are just all around objectively better. I think there's almost no aspect of the project that has not gotten better since that interest check. So if King, you want to detail some of the adjustments we've already agreed to make.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Go
Ken.
ahead. Go
I have
ahead.
a question for you. So this might spark some discussion, but Rob, how much of the keyb's identity are you willing to sacrifice in order to listen to the community's feedback? Like, how much
Ooh.
input have we actually gotten from them? And
It's kind of like, you know, how much do you want to become like your friends? And you want to be enough like them so that you can understand who they are and that they're generally great people, and they're doing work that they find personally validating and enjoyable. You want to be able to relate to all that and contribute to making them happier, but you also want to be doing things that you feel are distinctly valid. And so what was the exact wording you said? How much would I sacrifice of the
yes, so the exact wording is, how much of the keyb's identity are you willing to sacrifice in order to listen to
identity?
the community?
Um, I don't think we have to
Such a
sacrifice
dangerous,
any.
such a
You know,
dangerous question.
it it it's funny that the keyboard community is so driven by identity, when I know that most of the keyboard people themselves are proudly their own identity. Um, and so, and keyboard community itself being built on something that can be customized and tuned and really bespoke. Like keyboards are more the term gets thrown around bespoke. What it really means is that it is crafted for you and one of a kind. And the keyboards are really incredible in that regard, that they can be that way. So I wouldn't say that we have to sacrifice any of our identity, but what we can do is make sure that we are playing nice with the standards that already exist, and that we aren't hastily creating a new kind of standard or schema when an existing one has already been developed, and we can interoperate with that. And so when we say we're making changes, if you looked at the two photos between the before the interest check and the after interest check, there's probably not a lot that you'll visually see. And losing an identity is largely vision based. Probably not much at all. I think this just the changes we'll be making are ones so that we are not being overly cumbersome or overly unnecessarily a departure from the existing ways. We want to figure out a way that we can operate in the ways that are familiar, but introduce an experience that is magical.
That's a great answer, Rob. All right, since I threw you a
It was
tough
a cool
question.
question.
Yes, yes. And now I have one for King. All right,
Oh
King.
God, wait, it's
You're
time for the bus to roll
yeah,
over me.
it's in the ball's in your court now.
Okay, okay.
Okay, cool. So
Hit me with it.
this is erring on the side of controversy. Do you think that these changes will make this product more complete, or would it make it an easier pill to swallow for the geek hack folks?
It's not so that's a double-edged question too. So, and I'm gonna try to be pretty PC about it. The mere fact that we're even like wanting to iterate on this and doing like a cool update like this is specifically to explain that we're gonna go back to the drawing board on even some of the most critical elements of like the Keeb's PCB, right? But every week that we look at it, and I just wrote this gigantic dissertation and gave it to Rob at like 3 in the morning, and I know that's a gigantic dissertation, and we take all that as a grain of salt, and if we can get half of that input in there that I've just been collecting over time since the announcement of the Geek Hack thread, that's progress, and that's huge progress. Because all of that observation has just really been funneled back to us. So I would
Yeah,
say that go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's there's definitely an evolution
Yeah.
in uh, the taking the feedback of consumer desires and also balancing the feasibility to innovate. And I think that's kind of the core of this product. Most of the keyboard products that come out are probably putting in about a quarter as much innovation as we're trying to put in right now. And that's a scary thing. And so when we started the project, it was an innovation first, and then it becomes a discussion of, did we break anything? Did Was this too much innovation? Because it's almost too difficult to look at something and say, imagine it more innovative. But it's actually easier to look at something that's has too much innovation and be like, it's probably better if you pull that back.
What was that, John? Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, I was
I
like,
was like,
stop.
oh, okay. Maybe we were too
Um,
loud.
and and so the process of working with King and Jeffy and the rest of our team here who like deeply loves keyboards, where like the first role of us like getting those features are like, what do you want? And we get the answers of what do they know that's out there, and so we take that and then we go off and we come back and we're like, how about all this? And then you go through that cycle and you go through that cycle. Sorry, King, I kind of pulled on you, but
No, 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 no. I think like only to add to that too is we still haven't had the chance to show you like actually what's inside this. And again, we're a little bit busy internally, but of again the two people that have even taken this apart, you're looking at one, so that's definitely me. I've done this like 3 times now, back and forth, and we haven't even explained like the intricacy of parts putting in here. Like, not many people know right now that we have one, two, three, four, five, 6 PCBs are inside this keyboard. It's not just one PCB with a daughter board. I'm not even counting the daughter board, right? It's not even about the USB-C daughter board. So there are 6 PCBs in this keyboard. There are also the polycarbonate frame right here. This separates from the light blades. Like, this is a completely separate subassembly. So, and then there are 3 parts of those. So there is such a layering process of how we built this thing that um Rob's probably right. It's probably people staring at this, and the first thing they look at it, they go, okay, that is a design, right? That is definitely a design. And it's a striking design, whether you want to accept that or not. It is absolutely different. And then they judge it exactly on the externals. But when you really get in here, when you and I almost want to say too, like just as a tangent. So we're going to be sending the Chrome edition, and I think the silver, the prototype. So we're going to be sending those out to Alex Sotos and Apiary as soon as I can get more of these cool keycaps too. But
And
they're going to go
and
and
I
tear
I
those
want
down. So
yeah, and I just wanted to bring that up because that was another part of the feedback from Geek Hack community was we needed to make sure that we were going we were following through on the statements that we were making, and make sure that Alex Sotos and Apiary were fully able to voice how they felt during the pre-development. Because when I mentioned that we have not set a date to re-begin the pre-orders, that's because we want to get the feedback from Alex Sotos and Apiary before we put a date down.
right.
Because we absolutely want to know how they're feeling about these. And so Apiary was supposed to be the first person to do the key test at CES. That was the plan. And Alex was going to be there by a Segway with an iPad
Robot.
strapped to it.
Yeah.
Robot Alex Sotos. But so those plans got pushed out a little bit, and now that they have, we're going to take that extra time and make sure that any of the feedback we get, if we can implement it, we can implement it without this artificial deadline.
Yeah,
And that only stacks to answer that question, that like we will try to make this as best as possible. It's not even that I've unbuilt this thing like 3 times now. It's that we don't want to be in an echo chamber of us like saying, yeah, we did this right, we did this right. Like send it out there, send it out to Alex Ellis and Apiary and have them show it and have them give us comments and say, okay, great. We have to improve here, we have to improve there, but like getting their feedback, and again to Rob's point, it makes sense because that's what we said. It's like let them get it in their hands, to validate the product that they had feedback on, and then have it come back to us, and if we have to go in there and do some tweaks and changes, then those are all good things to consider to make this better, with the community feedback
Yeah,
in mind.
we don't ever want that to be bad news. Like that, if there needs to be changes, and we can understand why those changes need to be made, we don't want a situation where it's like you gotta ship it. No, we're never gonna end up doing that. And I'm especially excited to get it to Apiary because Apiary saw that really early
She
mock-up,
was here. That's right. Yeah.
and we had gotten the feedback from her that there's a market for a gamer style of keyboard, but you know the enthusiast crowd had a certain style, and especially the fact that at that time the top cover was plastic. That her feedback ended up going into why we were changing it into an aluminum top. And so I'm really excited to see what she's going to say about the aluminum one, especially the after seeing what you've done tuning that black one. It's you can't go backwards. It's I was not a keyboard PM before this project. This was an exploration and a study and collaboration with people who are keyboard fans, and my taste in keyboard has gone through the roof during this, I think we've developed exactly what would be desirable at the end of this project, which is really cool.
cool.
So John, that is
Yeah.
the longest end around, and then we ended up
Yeah.
tag teaming
No,
that question
I
anyway. But does that help?
I appreciate. No, that
Does
was
anybody
very,
have
very
questions to
good.
that? So again, I'm blind to the stream, but maybe they're commenting to that, and if not, then we talk about this sound test, and I've been holding it up, so I could totally do the live version, and then we can play the clip.
Okay.
So
Before that, King, I
you
have a
tell me
question.
what you guys want.
I have a question
Let's
for you,
do
though,
it.
King.
Live sound test? Are we doing it live?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. So Again, 205G0. Duroc linears. I'm gonna adjust this microphone. Give me 1 second. And I'm also gonna turn off noise suppression. So if you hear a lot of weird stuff in the background, I do have my newborn toddler in the living room. So if you hear her, try to eke out the sounds of the actual keyboard itself versus all that mixed in. So give me 1 second.
I was muted in Discord, but yeah, I appreciate the answer. It's very thorough. And then I guess after the sound test, you can give me your opinion on how the keyboard feels, like your honest opinions. Because I know Rob, you've also had your hands on the keyboard.
Yeah, yeah. Looks good, King.
Yeah, let's see.
What keyboard do you have in front of it?
That is a Rama Zenith. If you guys don't know what that is, so this is a Rama Zenith. I currently have banana splits on this guy. Yeah, and so
Is
a
that
couple
one lubed?
artisans.
Is that have you
Oh,
have you done
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
fully lubed? You
Mhm.
wanna you wanna give
You
us
want
a
to do a
sound test of that
comparisons?
before you
Okay,
do the
okay.
key?
I love it. Oh,
Yeah. Ha-
and oh, it's great that I have these here because there is definitely a difference between the two. One thing that I will say and preface is that the Keeb is a muted construction board. It is definitely a product of the mounting system that we have in this board. And the fact that the gasket does go all around it is like it completely um, covers the plate. So this is a very muted board. There's not much room in here at all. It's very compact all the way through. And then, of course, the silicone dampening pad is still here. You can take it out if you want to, but when I heard it, I kind of I loved keeping it in. This board, so Rama Zenith, there are no extras. I don't have any foam or anything on this board. I believe I had let me check my actual plate itself. Yeah, that's a carbon fiber plate. And then uh, it's a big brass insert on the bottom, but nothing lubed, or nothing actually added extra here. These are just banana splits that are lubed and filmed. So I will go through. Which one do you guys want to hear first, though? Because this is a clacky board. This is clacky by nature. This is a clacky board. And then this is a muted, kind of like a deeper tone board. So
Uh,
that's how I would classify things.
let's go with the keep second.
All right, keep second. Okay, okay. So this is the
Yeah.
Rama Zenith.
How, King, roughly how much does that setup on the Rama Zenith cost you?
The Rama Zenith. If you guys had the patience to wait for it, so this is about just the case alone was, I believe, 479 or 499. Just the case alone was 499. It's an XDA, 65% with the F rows and two columns. But yeah, it was 499 with just the literal plate and the PCB. On top of that, the banana splits. I forget how much I paid for those. It was maybe like another $60. And then on top of that, you see Olivia Dart. And if anybody out there is a fanboy, Olivia, you are the greatest keycap designer, I swear. But so I have her kit. I also have it in white, big flex. But and then I have artisans on top of that. But I would even venture to say that the keycap set plus artisans cost more than the board itself.
Ooh,
So you're looking at a setup on the table at around like 800 plus.
okay.
That is steep.
I like you're putting me on the spot and I feel really awkward, but um but yeah, that's probably what I'm working with. So we're gonna go and hear this board, and I almost wish I didn't say how much I spent on it, but we'll do this. We'll do this now. I'm also gonna disconnect it because I might just like press random stuff on the screen. All right, so noise suppression is gonna go off. It's like way too low. don't know if that does anybody justice, but then we also usually do this. That's a really good space bar. And then the stabilizers. Get this over. A really deep brass. There's like a thud every time you like press that. It like actually shakes the table.
Yeah, that looks heavy. Is that heavy?
Super resonates around me. Like I can feel it on my wrist as I like rest it.
It's very clacky. Clacky's a good word for it. It's kind of like there's a termination at the end of every keystroke, whereas with keeb it feels almost like you're light on it. You're very light on your fingers, and like you're almost not even bottoming out. It just
It might be
um
the keycap profile. This is a cherry profile too, so it has its own unique sound signature just by being a cherry profile. But on top of that, um, I would say that the profile being cherry um, resonates kind of like a certain way. I can't even explain that. So
no, there's definitely not really an echo, but an audible trail after you hear the key press. Like there's like 250 milliseconds of sound after you've already pulled away, and I think that's something that we've worked really hard to eliminate with the design of Keeb.
yeah, it doesn't. So this board will actually will definitely give you feedback. Like you could tell that this is definitely getting a sound signature back at me. There's not much to dampen the sound in this board. It is a solid like block essentially of what's going on in the Zenith. So
Mm.
people buy the Zenith. I believe. Well, I mean, again, my subjective opinion, as is everybody's in this hobby, is I would build the Zenith out to amplify its strength. So I will buy clackier keycaps. I will
Mm.
buy clacky switches because I just now want a very nice sounding clacky board. And you want to keep going up that vertical, right? Like just take it for what it is and build it out to be a nice, clean, clacky board.
Okay.
So
What would
that is the Zenith.
right? Cool. Now that we've gone through the Zenith, what would you say the sound profile is for the Keep? You said it was muted earlier.
Yeah, this is very muted. You can tell that it is trying to contain um, as much of the, I would say, the audio signature of the keycap profile itself. So the keycap profile being CXA is like this like deeper Thox signature. It's like a wider profile compared to. Let me just pull one out actually. Um, so let me see. This is the brackets, of course, and we can compare kind of like the height difference here. So I don't know if that's visible or not, but like there is absolutely like a wall difference. There's like a thickness difference between the cherry profile and the CXA. There's a height difference. So this is really hard to see. I know that sucks, but like if you just had it in front of you,
And
there's absolutely a height difference.
those
Um,
are the Canon keys, right?
Yeah, these are Canon keys. So Canon keys, if you're watching or if anybody's a Canon keys fanboys, like you guys have made a really really cool keycap set. And these just came out, so and you can take this as a shill, but like I really like these now that I've used them on our keyboard, and they just
No, I
visually
mean it's
match.
forget shill. We're not gonna shill. We're a manufacturer ourselves, so um, we ordered a slew of keycap sets
Oh
just
my
to test
god.
them out.
Yeah.
The Keeb design has this sort of opera seating, so the keycaps sit into the frame. We wanted to make sure that we played nice with all of our favorite keycap sets, and those Canon keys are hands down the office favorite. The space bar is so complementary to the overall industrial design of the Keeb. The space bar reminds me of like if you've ever walked in like a very old up very old stairs, like made out of stone, and the corner of the stair starts to round off because it's had so much travel. That's what the space bar looks like on these Canon keys, and that form just so flows incredibly nicely with the front end of the key.
Yeah.
Awesome. It looks amazing with those keycaps. Our mock-up keycaps are pretty not attractive, and it's so nice to see some beautiful keycaps on the key.
I'm gonna switch to typing on it. I mean, I know people are gonna comment on that. Like again, if you guys haven't checked out the CXAs, and the crazy thing is, I think they're like $70. So they're like hitting it out of the park. Absolutely love the CXAs. So, I'm gonna steal this set and just
All right.
use
Is
it
it,
for my own.
is it time for the sound test?
It is. I think it is. I
All
think it
right.
is. All right. So again, this is 205G0 Duroc linear 65 grams on CXA. The only stabilizer is the spacebar. I did my best to tune up the current plate mount stabilizers that are on here, and they're just mock up. Yeah, I just want to really reconfirm that is not what's shipping with this. These just came with this to make CES, but I did a really good job on those, I think, if I say so myself. So here we go. We will do the sound test on keep. I don't know if you guys want me to keep going.
That little cough at the end wasn't reverb. That
was my
child.
toddler. Yeah, that was my toddler. Please, yeah. If I could only filter that far into the living room. Again, noise suppression is totally off, so if it doesn't sound like a natural keyboard sound,
we'll definitely have to get a good mic and an anechoic chamber too.
Well, we have the clip. Where's the sound clip?
Yeah. Let me see if I can throw up the clip right now.
Yeah. Let's see it. While you're doing that, though, I'm going to do the spacebar. Okay. Oh yeah.
Oh. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay. It seems like the clip didn't download properly, so
no. I'll do more.
Unfortunately, we'll have to toss that in the Discord later.
Okay, no problem. And here's my job on the 2U stabilizers that are not Duroc. So here's that backspace. Not terrible.
Not bad. All right. Well, after fully assembling the keyboard and typing in the key, what are your honest opinions compared to? I'm sorry. What was the other keyboard in front of you called? The Zenith.
The Zenith.
Yeah. So, is there a difference in feel? Can you describe that?
Yes, absolutely. So I am limiting myself to using what is on the key itself. So I'm not trying to replace what someone's options possibly were, right? So for me, I would say I really like the sound signature, but I would switch out the switches in a heartbeat. I would go a little bit lighter. I'm okay at 65 Gs, but these are a little heavy for my liking. I don't have a switch that's 65 G. So for me to type on a 65 G, it's just because I don't want to bias myself with I'm just going to completely put on CJs or something on the keep itself. So it's two different typing experiences. So I can't say that if I'm super being honest with myself, I can't say that I prefer one or the other because one is clacky and one is thocky. So it's
I think I have a little bit of a newer consciousness when it comes to keyboard sound. I can probably say I wasn't paying nearly enough attention to it. And when we were going through all the different tests of how could it sound, we had made a bunch of different mock-ups, and we typed up on them and did polling to kind of see what the natural grouping was. Everybody has a preference, but we tried to see what was generally most appealing. And the key signature that we have on that mock-up there, it's like someone tapping you on the shoulder. Like it just it's soft and it absorbs all the impact, and there's no additional waves of reverb being created. And when you're typing and you're in that state of flow and you just want to keep going, like it just starts to disappear, and it's like you're typing midair. I'm so excited with how we were able to get that tuned.
Yeah, and this is not like we're not tuning it because like I'm trying to make it like better than uh the way it should sound, right? This is like this I'm not adding anything different to this keyboard other than the switches that it comes
Uh,
with, lubing them
and
properly, and a keycap set.
part of the mission in doing the keeb was being able to take a full keyboard and put it in the hands of people, a full mechanical enthusiast grade keyboard, and putting it in the hands of people who don't know how to build a keyboard or spec a keyboard or what to look for, which brands used to be good, which brands are still good. We wanted to be able to take someone who had zero experience and get them to someplace good, and use that as a jumping off platform. And I am so impressed with the difference even between unlubed and lubed, that it gives our customers that extra step of like, okay, I bought a great platform, and now there's more that I can learn immediately with this platform, and be able to expand on that. It's got a high skill cap to really max out in a really great place. And for people who maybe might feel too intimidated by that, um, we're looking into the ability to pre-lube the switches. So if we can do that too, that the experience of typing on the lubed version of the keeb is just like heavenly.
Right. I have a couple questions from Twitch chat. Also,
Ooh, Twitch chat questions.
yeah.
All right,
So,
go ahead.
Voxel Mods actually says hi
Oh,
to
Voxelmod,
both you
what's
and
up,
King.
buddy? What's up, dude?
Cool. And then we have a question from Beta Things. He's asking if we have any clicky switches that will be shipping with the Keep. So I know you mentioned the three switches that we have available. Out of those 3, which would you say is the most clicky?
So we chose not to ship clickies, so we don't have any blues or anything. So beta things, that's gonna be a severe disappointment for you. But we do have tactiles. So I don't know if that's what you meant either, but like we do have the tactiles, and they're the 67G teals from Duroc. So our line of included switches is just going to be Duroc. So there's going to be the 55G yellows, the 65 uh, with the pinks, and then of course the 67 tactile T1s. So those come with them. I would still do the same thing about lubing those. So like I would never install just raw switches, but if that helps, there's at least a T1 option. And if not, again, oh, well, we never even got to this point, but like the community feedback was requesting, of course, a bare bones edition, right? So if you were going to go that route and you really wanted clickies or blues, then pick up the bare bones edition of this keyboard. And when that comes out, then you're free to do whatever you want. And it doesn't mean that it comes with any less performance. It's just you are open to building the keep however you want.
I think
And
the approach is the hard things should be possible, or I'm sorry, the easy things should be easy and the hard things should be possible. And that's kind of the way that the SKUs we offer work out.
we should also probably go run through like the list of changes, I guess.
Yeah, I think we were
We
supposed
we
to do
still
that
haven't done
before.
that. We're just like super tuned into the sound. Like I hope people love the sound. I mean, again, this is even if this appears biased to you, we'll be sending out boards to API and Alex. We do have another sound clip made in a completely different room. That isn't my little work study. So we implore you guys to check out the Discord. I'm sure John will throw that up there at the end of the night.
Yep, I'll
But
be
a
throwing that
couple
up.
other things. The actual major change here. And I love the people who had a voice in this, and I got to give some credit to because I told him I'd give him credit, but so Thurman Goat, you are amazing. He was suggesting to me just a lot of the design of the PCB could just be resolved if we went south facing. So if you're looking at this right now, and I can pull this off, the CES edition boards, and the way it was even advertised was a north-facing PCB, and what that means is the LEDs are above. They're on the north, and the switches face the north direction with the LED this channel up here on above to accommodate where that LED is. But that actually limited the options of available keycaps that were compatible with the keeb at its current state, which means you weren't able to kind of like use cherry profiles in a certain direction, right? So instead of like us thinking about how to make this better by like thinking about new switches, instead there were a lot more positives to making sure that you guys had 99% more choice in any keycaps that you wanted to use, whether it's GMKs or whether it's SAs or cat profile or cherry
And
profile
the
caps.
the northern positioning was really arbitrary in regards to like why. Um, so when it came up that we should consider south facing, it made sense. And it wasn't something we had considered before because when we started the project, it was largely north facing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great example of the type of feedback that we've received over the last few weeks that just makes complete sense.
Do you want to talk about like the possible keycaps? Do we say that much?
I'm sorry, the possible what?
The keycaps?
The included caps?
Yeah. Do we say that much?
Um,
Am I already spilling alpha like I shouldn't be?
I think we can say that we could not find a viable source of double shot PBT shine through south facing caps. And that seems really strange. Um, and that we might want to make that soon.
Okay, that's totally alpha.
Yeah, I think there's something super badass about being able to go like I feel shine through caps get marginalized. And maybe that's just the keyboards that have RGB are just not worth the RGB that they have, that no one is really investing in quality shine through caps. Um but we are, and I think it makes sense to go ahead and spend the money and invest in doing a double shot PBT shine through south facing cap. Um, I think the market's there for it.
Yep, that's really cool. And that was another conversation born off the fact of like us asking why. Like, okay, we'll do this, but then like how do we make this appeal as a standard kit for people who really want an out of the box experience? So again, really good pivots and 100% of that due to the community feedback. So uh
And
again,
and that
kudos.
and that's the kind of thing. Let's see. Uh, we need to source new keycaps when we go south facing. We need to redesign and relay out the PCB. And we need to tweak our own key map or the LED placement and the mapping software, because RGB basically operates as a screen, so all the LEDs are placed correctly. Um, it's not a trivial thing to just up and do that, but it makes sense, and we're not here to make products that don't make sense to most people. So really happy that came up and we were able to incorporate it.
Cool. Are there any other major changes, King, that happened or
Okay, I hope
will
that helps.
help?
The other things that I would say, that are likely going to that you'll likely see in the future too. We're talking about different cool plate designs. We're talking about really cool PCB designs as well. Really gilded looking stuff. A lot of the things that you would expect in a board of this quality and the price is something that we ultimately still want to reflect at all times. So um, I don't think we do we want to discuss like the colorways? Do we still have an eye on like which colorways or are we still
I
trying to
think
figure that out?
I think we can I think we can just share updates. Like I think I would really like to operate this project, you know, in the public. Like
Yeah.
we're sharing updates with what's changed and what's new and how we're evolving. And over the last 2 weeks, we spent a lot of time trying to improve our sourcing for that top aluminum. And we're getting the feedback from our production that we'll be able to offer multiple colors now. Um, right now, I believe that matte black will be one of the colors. It's also looking like we might do some limited version that's in a chrome. And when I say chrome, I mean this is like a curved, thick piece of aluminum, uh, heavily plated in real chrome, and it just looks super bonkers with all the curves and cuts and everything.
Oh, on that topic, Rob, we've gotten a lot of comments about how transparent we are with our product development. Do you think this is
Hmm.
the new wave for companies to go with? Like, how do we feel about the recent trend in educational marketing?
I think the products are getting more complicated and the education cycles are getting longer. You basically, with consumer electronics, as they get more advanced, you have to kind of rely that the customer already knows like the existing product, and then you're going to make the iterative uh, improvements on top of that. And so those customer education cycles can be really difficult, especially for a newer company like us. And I think that this stuff is extremely entertaining to watch develop and to even be a part of the development. Like King is in Discord nonstop talking with our community about how we should make changes or explaining to them why maybe we think that this is a better way. Um, that to me is so much more interesting than watching Seinfeld for the 40th time. Like I love Seinfeld. It's great, but like this I get to learn a bit more about the actual process of how the things I love get made. And that's just really entertaining. You 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 get to you get to you get to share your own thoughts with us, and we get to share our thoughts with you, and the product is actively in development, and when it launches you'll know why it is the way it is. And I think in a lot of consumer tech, consumers feel that these designs are arbitrary, but it's really actually a widowing down of starting with 50 decisions and then being like, well, 25 of those are just wrong. And then 25, maybe there's five that could work. And then of those five, what worked best maybe for yesterday and today, and which two are probably the better way to go in the future. And I think that when everybody gets to see us make those decisions, they get to understand just how much consideration like went into this. And even if you don't buy it, you get to be a much more informed consumer about the process of these things. Um, and I'm all for that. We are obviously in an age where it is very inexpensive to suddenly broadcast things live like we're doing right now. And um, it's of the times to be able to take advantage of the current technology. And if we are not taking advantage of the current technology, we are just stuck in the dogma of yesterday. So, I love I love sharing the ideas that I have with people and getting that feedback. And I think this is kind of the next phase of that. It's like developing products live for the audience that's going to consume them. That amount of transparency is like, that's awesome.
It's mind-blowing to me. Like I enjoy seeing this process. I may work here as well, but it's so interesting to see the thought and the effort that you guys put into designing this keep. So staying on this topic, Rob, I have another question for you personally.
Mm.
So when you were designing this product, can you tell me what kind of the array of emotions that you experienced when developing the keep? And then when you finally had it physically in front of you, what were these emotions that were invoked? Like, can you tell me
Yeah.
more about that?
So let me start by saying that the majority of my career was spent designing components, cases, liquid coolers, um, stuff that you would install together one time, but for the most part, you weren't handling regularly. The usage, the typical usage of the product was not a physical interaction. Um, and so the way you would design those things would be for ease of installation, but largely it was to look good and cool well and reliably. But with the Keeb, I knew immediately that it had to feel good in the hands. And the best way that I could explain it, and that when we worked with Paul Myers to do the industrial design, he was the industrial designer. Um, the first thing I talked to him about is I said I wanted it to feel like you're holding someone's hand. I wanted it to feel like some of the very basic pleasures that we enjoy with our hands, and that's usually another hand. And so, because it's a piece of hardware and a piece of technology, it's kind of strapped again with limitations of production and cost and all these sort of things. And so they're designed in this sort of cost driven, time to market, production ability. And so they look angular and square. And from day one, ours was designed to be curved and cup your hands and like I said, feel like you're holding a hand. Um, I felt very strong about that, that what a keyboard is supposed to do is be a net for you to spill your ideas out into. And when, it's a little scary to share your ideas, and maybe the world is hostile, and maybe they'll use them against you, or they'll make fun of you, or you'll be called stupid, or any number of things for you to not want to express yourself. And the Keeb is designed to encourage that expression, and make you feel confident and comfortable in being able to share your thoughts. And so we do that physically through the design. We do that visually through the physical design, but again with the RGB that King is showing on screen. And then what we haven't spent much time talking about live yet is what we're doing on the software side to help to make that encouraging. We have a team member here that has brought up the ideas of how we can visually show notifications. We can visually express time passing. So maybe if you're someone who spends a little too much time doing something, visual indicators are a little more soft on your nervous system. You don't have to get as jarred up when you hear an alarm going off. And so we can have visual indicators of time progressing, and a lot of new and innovative ways that haven't yet been leveraged on the keyboard. And I know maybe I'm a little too sappy about it, but
No, not at all.
outside of
I love this. I love hearing this. Tell me more.
outside of my cell phone, there's probably not another thing that I touch with my fingers or my tips nearly as much. Like this, I use my keyboard for play and I use it for work, and it's an extension of myself. And I want to feel as comfortable as possible to really leverage it in the most unimaginable ways. Yeah, I'm a little drifted, but
No,
yeah.
no worries. All right, so we have had the RGB on for a while now. All right, King, we do have a couple questions regarding the RGB.
Yeah, go for so just okay, this is admission of guilt again, but yes, I also took a voxel bots cable home, which is how this is being powered right now. I
All
just
right,
happen
it's we already took it off your paycheck.
yeah, it's
It's
yeah. I mean, I'm happy to the voxel if you're still there. Oh my god, it is a gorgeous cable. We did find them, by the way, so just a status update for you if I haven't told you yet. We did find your cables. So,
cool.
but what's the question? Yeah,
All right.
let's
So the first question is, are there profile presets for the RGB? Out of the box, how many profiles will there be available?
um out of the box there will be at least 4 uh what we would call untethered RGB profiles, which would mean that they are like stored on the onboard memory of the keyboard. And then there will be a number of other tethered profiles in which your computer is basically driving the RGB signal. And so when the computer is doing it, it's your CPU and your GPU, which have a massive amount of computational power over the built-in MCU. So that's when we'll be able to do the screen mirroring and the music visualization, and a number of other really cool features. We're going to have a lot of those, and we hope to keep adding them as we continue development.
This
All
is
right.
very bright, by the way.
Yeah.
This is like all my lights are on.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
I
that's
could
a
turn them
bright
off.
room, and it's
Should I?
still
Yeah.
blowing. It's blowing out the image with the lights on.
Yeah.
there's another
Yeah.
question in chat. This was a while back. Solsky, if you're still here, he asked, are there going to be other sound tests, including the other switches in the future? Because I know
Oh,
that
dude.
the most recent
If
sound test we had
yeah,
included the
is
pinks.
is that what you want? I can make more of these. Uh,
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
we should definitely make a proper one.
and what you're requesting is me like speed looping these for like a half day. So I understand. Are there any okay, oh, I guess like while we're at it of the switches that we do have, I'd love to know what people off the top of my head, this is what I know is in that crazy conference room. So love for you guys to kind of vote on these. Maybe like the next 2 types of switches. We have the Duroc piano palms. We have the Gateron CJs. So these are Gateron CJs. We have the KTT strawberries. We have KTT roses. Both of these were long stem. And when I say long stem, it's that the stem is actually like this like bottom out this part of the switch like um, that when you take apart, like you could measure out. So the KTTs happen to be very long stem, which resolved the north facing issue. But then again, why, right? But so we have these. I also have, of course, what I have is Tangies. I have my banana splits. I have Telios. I think we have those tactile. Yeah, we do have the T1s, and then of course I have 55Gs. But again, like switching from 55G and these springs, like they're gonna sound the same. So I wouldn't go up the Duroc linears. I'd pick something else. So if you guys are taking notes about like what I have, and if any of that is of interest, sure, you know, I can. You could tell me, hey, I really want to hear
No,
palms
we'll,
and
we'll buy it.
oh,
We'll,
okay, yeah,
we'll
yeah,
if we don't have the Switch, we'll go and get it. Yeah.
yeah.
Tell us what switches that you would like sound tests for, and if we don't have them, we will go and purchase them to make those videos.
Cool. Even better, guys. That
Cool.
only adds to my collection.
All right. So, yeah, I will have that sound test for you guys in Discord, and I'll throw it up on socials as well so that everyone can see. And then
Cool.
once we do get the recording of the other switches, we'll also throw that on Discord.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good for us to build out an area of our lab just dedicated to this. We can go and build a little filming, like a little tiny enclosure that we could do this upright. So it'll be cool to invest in that.
On the topic of switches, King, I know you're a fan of keycaps and you have a lot of keycap sets. What keycap sets would you recommend on this version of the keeb, on this color of the keeb?
I think on any version of the keeb, we do have that crazy chrome one, but on any, like the CXAs, they look beautiful. Again, this is a new profile. It is really hard to imagine what this looks like unless you get them. So like the CXA profile, amazing. The I will never say no to like a GMK Cherry. You just can't say no to that. It's kind of like the standard de facto profile. I do have a cat set that I haven't tried on this yet, but I'm just so biased towards the CXA because it has this aesthetic that just matches. There's hard points in the keycap aesthetic itself that just matches parts of the keyboard. So like the corners, the lines, like just it's like we were designing for the same thing. So kudos to Canon keys for the CXA profile. But even if not on this board, CXA profile
That's
looks
a
great.
Cool. Thanks for the answer, King. Would you be able
Yeah.
to actually?
fine too.
Oh, I think we're losing Rob here. Rob, are you good?
Uh,
Maybe someone's downloading a giga file in the office.
Oh, I think it's actually on Rob's end.
yeah. Shit.
Okay. Well, while we get Rob to get his internet fixed, King, would it be possible to give us a little show of the keep? Like bring it up close to the
A
camera.
little show.
Yeah, show us how those light blades actually diffuse through the polycarbonate.
I don't think this camera will probably not give this keyboard justice. Um, I don't know if you could see that. I don't know if this even helps, but like does this help at all?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm also playing one of the most basic things in a very, very alpha version of our software. So, like this is like stage one of just like a light show. Not anything programmed or tethered, like Rob said, to like do any crazy screen sync. So I am merely demoing this because I happened to find a voxel mods cable, and I clicked on like the first thing that I saw in a very, very alpha piece of software, just to illuminate the board. Um,
Do you have
The what, Rob?
do you have the laser option there on the software? I think that one's my
Yeah,
favorite
let me
right
see.
now.
Let me see if I can switch to that. Is it the radius laser one? Maybe
Yeah,
it's not.
I think so.
All right, let's see.
And then it just takes a second.
There we go.
There it is.
Oh, wait, I gotta like make this bigger, I think. There we go. Okay. There we go.
would we be able to see some of this screen sync in action? We got a question from our sister company, iBuyPower.
I think I
We
think we're
have
gonna
cool
have to
videos.
hold that. Yeah, we have some videos online, but maybe next week we can show a little bit more. We've been able to improve the screen sync latency even better. Um, let me ask my developer what we think the latency right now is. What do you think the latency is for screen capture right now?
I think it's
40?
40 frames per second.
And how many milliseconds delay?
What is it? Wait,
15?
yeah.
Okay. So
That's not bad.
15 millisecond delay from what's on your monitor to the light on the keyboard, which is pretty darn good.
That's actually really
So
fast. That's impressively fast.
yeah, I think we can demo that next week. We're gonna have to hop off in a couple minutes. So I think maybe we ask if there are any questions before we hop off.
Yeah, if there are any last minute questions in chat, we can get that through.
I'll also stick
Hey
around in
King, you should
Discord, guys.
lower your camera. lower your camera to show the backside.
Here we go. Here we go again. Ooh. So there are LEDs in there.
Hundreds of LEDs.
It's funny because like the laser thing spins up. It becomes wilder.
Yeah, it just like if you leave it running, eventually it just overtakes the entire keyboard.
It's awesome.
Cool. It doesn't look like we have any last minute questions. I know Rob, you have to hop off. King,
Yes.
if there are any other changes that we need to address or anything that we have planned for community for the next week, would you be able to stick around and chat
Of
for a little
course.
bit?
Of course, yeah. I'll be in the Discord. That's where we are right now. We're in the town hall room, so I'll stick around for a little bit. It won't be on stream, but like if you need me to show off some camera stuff, point back down. Totally down for that for a few minutes. So
Cool.
Thank you guys so much. Talk to you next week.
All right.
thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right.